Injustice 3 doesn't just need good gameplay to survive, it needs content, because games just don't die from bad mechanics anymore, they die because literally there's nothing to do after a week. And if NetherRealm Studios wants Injustice 3 to actually last, these modes aren't optional, they're mandatory for the survival of Injustice and any fighting game that they put out. But before we get into today's video in which we talk about Injustice 3 and the game modes I think it needs in order to survive, I'm Mr. Frosty Flames, but you can call me Mike. We do anything gaming analysis, reviews, and playthroughs, and we do it in a chill way with no over editing BS. So if you like that style of content, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join the Frosty Flames Legion. Enlist today and help us get to 1700. We're growing quickly, so claim your spot and just enlist. Anyways, back to the video. So the problem with most modern fighting games, especially NRS games, including like Mortal Kombat 1, MK11, and Injustice 2, is that once the hype dies down, you're really just left with like single player fights, you know, fighting with your friends, right? Towers, ranked, casual, and that's about it. And for most players, that's just not enough anymore, especially when they're charging like $70 a game. So if Injustice 3 wants to succeed long term, it needs modes that keeps casual players playing, and it gives like grinders something to chase, and it actually like makes you feel worth your time. And one really good way to achieve this is adding a true single player mode. Now this is something that NRS really struggles with for some reason. I guess they had something that is okay with the multiverse game mode in Injustice 2 and the Towers of Time in MK11, because those were like very similar in concept where you could, you know, play them and grind for gear, and both of those games had a good gear system, especially Injustice 2. But MK1 really just failed with the invasions mode, and I feel like Injustice 3 needs a real single player mode, not just the story that you beat once and never touch again. Something like a living mode, maybe like an open world mode where you could like log in and there's always something new to do, something maybe akin to like the World Tour mode of Street Fighter 6. Like I'm thinking things like rotating challenges, character specific missions, and rewards that actually matter. It's cause like not everyone wants to sweat online. I know it's a fighting game, but there's also a casual fan base. There's also things that, you know, we should do, even like the sweats, right? The tryhards like me, I could consider myself a tryhard in fighting games. Sometimes I just want to kick it back and relax and just grind, or, you know, do something fun for the game for once, not just sweat online. Some people just want to hop on, play as Batman, and feel like they're progressing. So maybe I'm thinking something like an open world game mode in Injustice 3. However, you know, I know it's big in scope because literally the DC universe is massive. They could go anywhere. Just imagine like a game mode where either you play as like a certain hero of your choice and you could like level them up and, you know, walk around, do challenges, explore the DC universe, or maybe you could do something where you could create your own superhero and you could like learn from these masters, sort of like a conquest mode or a world tour of Injustice 3. And this could be a good casual game mode to keep casual fans engaged for some time, maybe like a couple hours or even like 10 to 30 hours depending on how much effort and time they put into it. This is also something they could update. Like it seems like all the other competitors of Mortal Kombat and Injustice, you know, Tekken 8 and Street Fighter 6 has these like online open world arenas or like semi open world places where you could just go around and just do stuff, right? Like the battle hub or things like that, right? It would be cool to have something akin to that in an NRS game. I don't think it's too far-fetched, you know, because 2 out of 3 of the big major fighting games are doing it, so NRS should do it. And that doesn't mean they should throw away the multiverse mode that they had from Injustice 2. What Injustice 3 needs to do is make it better, because the original multiverse mode had a problem, because it kind of felt more like a grind than something fun. In Injustice 3 they need to fix that if they bring it back. You know, they could make it less repetitive, more rewarding, and actually interesting. They could add good unique modifiers, not those invasions modifiers where you just have armor or like your screen blackens for like what feels like 30 seconds and you can't even practice as your character or do combos. They could add mini storylines. That's what I think that Invasions actually did good, is they added a little bit of lore to the Liu Kang's timeline by adding these mini storylines. They could do that with the multiverse mode. They don't have to do like a Titan comes in or like a galactic threat comes in, but you could base like say like a multiverse season on like a certain character or something, right? And have them have like a mini storyline, something that they did, something that goes along with the Injustice lore. You could also add like special boss fights or something like that. Make it feel like you're part of a changing world, not doing chores. And they could increase like the gear system and make it better, like not like a bunch of duplicates. Don't make it like loot boxes and stuff like how Injustice 2 did. I love the Injustice 2 loot system. You could basically make your character however you'd like. You could customize the head, the torso, the arms, legs, the weapon. But the thing is, you had to open up these like loot boxes that you got from the multiverse mode, and then sometimes you get duplicates and they hid like special moves behind these drops. It was just like too much of a grind, you know. It felt like you were just playing just to grind for loot boxes, just to grind for gear, and that's not how it should be. It should be a fun game mode that could also feel rewarding because we're gonna get cool gear from it, right? And it could be an incentive. Like you could either go into it by wanting to play a fun game mode, or go into it by, hey, I want to get some gear, but this isn't bad, so I'll just play this and get some gear in the meantime, you know? Like that's the mindset you need. You don't need that mindset where it's like, man, I want gear for Robin, but I'm just gonna I gotta play this game mode, it's multiverses, you know, I don't like that. That shouldn't be the mindset. You should make something fun. Now I say with this game mode, combined with that conquest open world style single player experience, it should be good for single player content. And on top of all that, you could have the cinematic story that NRS knows how to do well and loves. Obviously the story is about 50-50, you know, but they know how to make things actiony, they make things cool. You could have that chapter based system that people love. So if you bring that back, you have an open world game mode, and you have that multiverse Towers of Time sort of like game mode. You could have a perfect Injustice 3 for the single player experience. And I say on top of that, this is something fighting games that I just came up with. This is something fighting games seriously lack, and that's actually co-op. Imagine like jumping in with a friend and fighting bosses, waves of enemies, or even like tag team fights if we're reaching for the stars. But I know MK11 did something similar in the Towers of Time, where you're, you know, fighting a boss with people. You could actually join your friends and like tag in and out. A lot of people don't remember that, but that was a thing in MK11. Imagine if they added that to that multiverse game mode that I was talking about. Like, not everything has to be competitive. Sometimes people just want to play with their friends, not against them, and that alone could keep people playing way longer. And on top of that, what would really be the cherry on top is a great mode, I can't say what, but like a mini mode that creates fun moments. Something sort of like a test your luck or test your sight, something that could be unique to the Injustice mode, because every great game has that mode, the one that people talk about, the one that creates like crazy moments, funny clips, or unforgettable experiences, things like that. I feel like Injustice 3 could really use something like that, something unique, something that could be like a test for something in the future, something that makes people say, wait, you could do that in this game? Something like that, because that's what keeps a game alive online. People could make clips about it or something, you know, and the virability of the game will be massive, which will increase, you know, the visibility of your game, and more people would flock to your game. Because the fighting game, you can't lie, fighting games right now are oversaturated. You have so many options to choose from. Let me name some. You have Street Fighter 6, that's probably still going to be going on. You have Tekken 8, you have Virtua Fighter, you have Guilty Gear, you have those mini fighting games that have the potential to blow up, like the Invincible Versus and anything that, and you know, those anime fighter games that come out, like they're cool. You have 2XKO, you have all these fighting games, and like it's so easy for people to just lose track of Injustice. Obviously it has that boost because it's a DC fighting game. There's also a Marvel one coming out, Marvel Token, right? That's gonna be an interesting one when the time comes. I don't know, I haven't seen much about it, but hopefully it's good. But at the end of the day, Injustice 3 doesn't need to reinvent fighting games, but it does need to give players a reason to stay, because gameplay brings people in. But modes are what make them stay, because you can't just, you could buy a game and the gameplay could be amazing, but what good is amazing gameplay if there aren't any good modes to actually play the game in? And if NetherRealm gets this right, Injustice 3 might not just be a good fighting game, it might actually be a NetherRealm game that lasts, because that's something that NetherRealm struggles to do, make their games last. But anyways, that's just my take on it. Let me know your comments down below, your thoughts, if you agree what I said or if I missed something, but that's just what my vision is for a perfect Injustice 3. Anyways, thank you all for watching. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe and join the Legion. Anyways, I love you all. Have a good one. Mr. Frosty Flames out. Ciao.